In this problem, we want to graph secant. And the steps for graphing secant and cosecant are really very similar to graphing sine and cosine. So the first thing we're going to do is find the period. So we're going to use 2 pi over absolute b. The b, or the coefficient of the x, is 0.5. So really we've got 2 pi divided by a half, or 2 pi times 2 over 1, which would give us 4 pi for the period. Now, again, we're going to divide the period by 4, so we're going to get pi, and that is so that we get the key points along the unit circle to graph with. So we're only graphing zeros, ones, and negative ones, and not things like square root 2. And so when we divide the period by 4, we get pi. So then our x values, or our x-axis scale, is going to go by pi's. So we're going to do 0 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi. And then the y values. Well, secant is 1 over cosine, and if you remember, cosine's y values were 1, 0, negative 1, 0, 1. So since secant is the reciprocal of those values, we're going to get 1 undefined, negative 1 undefined 1. But I don't have secant here. I have 4 times secant. So my a is going to be 4. So I'm actually going to end up 4 undefined, negative 4 undefined 4. Now let's go to the next slide here and actually graph this. So we ended up with these x values and these y values, and if we pair them up, we're going to be plotting the point 0, 4. Then we're going to be graphing the point pi undefined. Now, well, that's not a point. Undefined is a vertical asymptote. So at pi, I'm graphing a vertical asymptote. At 2 pi, I'm graphing a negative 4. At 3 pi, an undefined, so a vertical asymptote. And then at 4 pi, I'm graphing a 4. Now, we want you to remember that when graphing secant and cosecant, the shapes are parabolas, and the vertical asymptotes are where the parabolas are headed. Now, since we're working with secant, which is 1 over cosine, the cosine graph is supposed to kind of fit in between, essentially. So, in other words, our parabolas cannot cross the x-axis. So when I'm at this point here, I can't do an up parabola because it will pass through the x-axis. So I have to make a downward parabola, and I want to head toward my asymptote. Now, what I have drawn there is half of a period. So if I want one period, then I want another essentially up parabola. So what I can do here is I could graph half of this one and half of this one, or instead, which I'll do it in red, I could draw all of that one and nothing over here, or I could draw all of this one and nothing over here. So you have some options there for graphing one period. If you needed to graph more than one period, let's say you wanted 2 periods, then you'd have to have 1 up, 1 down, 2 ups and 2 downs would give you 2 periods. So when you see this, that's 1 period. So when you see 2 ups and 2 downs, that's 2 periods.